Hi gaming guys, and welcome to episode 21 of Global Contenders, the review series for the touring cars of Gran Turismo. And in this particular episode we're featuring a fictional touring car from Mazda, the Mazda MX-5, early generation MX-5 touring car. This is a premium model. It's a paintable vehicle, as many of the fictional touring cars are. And as far as race cars go, not just touring cars, but race cars in general on the game, there are certain vehicles which definitely aren't bad, but they do feel perhaps a little bit too specialised for their own good. Vehicles like the Lotus Elise race cars, or the Suzuki Cappuccino race car, stuff like that, and also some in this series as well, like the Honda CRZ touring car, the Toyota Prius touring car. They're not bad as such, they're interesting enough on their own or for one-make racing, but beyond that they don't really have much competitive range, and this car could very easily be one of those vehicles. So the question is it? Well, what do you get? Well, in fully tuned form, you're looking at a 1.6 engine, it's rear-wheel drive, and you're putting out 289 horsepower. That's not amazing, but it's not bad as such. The torque is 194 foot-pounds, not surprising that it's not overly high, and the weight is nice and low, 795 kilos. The horsepower per tonne is decent enough at 364, but that's still only the same kind of horsepower per tonne that you'd expect from a modified hot hatch on the game. So not bad, but not necessarily anywhere near the level of most of the other cars in this series. The fully tuned PP is unfortunately definitely too high for its own good at 513, and that really is way too high for this car's own good. And that's a shame, because that means that as far as competitive range goes, it's not necessarily going to be that great. Now, as far as performance, it's not a bad car by any means. It's not overly quick in a straight line, as you'd probably assume given the preceding spec that we listed off. The handling, though, as you would probably also expect, is very good. The drivability is excellent, it has very good manners, it's pretty obviously very beginner friendly, and it does have a strong level of driver control and grip. It's a joy to work with. It is a very fun car to drive, and that's something which the MX-5 in production form is of course known for. So that's pretty much a guarantee with a vehicle like this. You know certain things about it. It's not going to have earth-shattering power, it is going to have pretty good handling, and it does have both of those things checked off. Now, the clincher is how much does it cost? Well, unfortunately for the Mazda, it's 167,000 credits, and the fact is, it's just not worth that. Now, am I saying don't buy this car? No, I'm not, specifically because it is an interesting touring car. For one-make racing, or for lower-level, extreme lower-level touring car racing, it is a decent enough vehicle. And of the, let's say, underwhelming touring cars that are on the game, such as the ones I mentioned earlier, the CRZ, the Prius, etc., it is one of the better ones. But one of the reasons why I would say that from a performance point of view and from a competition standpoint, it's not worth 167 grand, is quite simply because you can get better touring cars for much less. And it's not just one, you can get at least two major ones for a lot less cash. As examples, the Mazda Atenza touring car and the Toyota Altezza touring car are both superior performance machines to this car for a much lower price. Less than half the price, in fact. So from a performance point of view, as I said, 167 grand is just way too steep, and it's compounded by the fact that the PP is way too high, and that is of course evidence of the fact that this car suffers from Red Bull Junior syndrome. It's just way too high a PP for its own good and will never be competitive enough at that level. Now, if you take this on a track like, say, the Gran Turismo Arena against something with a lot more power but that's really big, like an Oldsmobile Tornado or a Jay Leno tank car, well, yes, obviously it's going to have a strong chance then, but that is such a niched, overly specified situation that will pretty much never happen. And in reality, yes, it may have superior drivability in some ways, such as nimbleness over other touring cars, but just not enough to beat them. So, although it's not a bad car, you should only buy this vehicle if you're a very specific type of driver. If you like the car and just want to own it regardless of how good it is, then you will enjoy owning it, because it is very fun to drive, it looks the part, and it is pretty quick. It's just not quick enough to justify the price and PP level purely from a factual point of view. So clinically, this isn't a great car. Emotionally, for the driver enjoyment, etc., it's a great car. So overall, it depends on what kind of driver and what kind of car collector you are. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.